In our Zoom session this week, we reviewed a reading comprehension strategy. This strategy is very important and it's the foundation for many other reading comprehension strategies. The strategy is to find the topic, the main or central idea, and the details of a text. Every text is made up of a topic, a main or central idea, and details. Now, before we started this lesson in Zoom, we went into breakout rooms, and each student shared with the class their most favorite movie, sport, or dish, and they gave 2 reasons why it was their favorite. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate this now. So my favorite movie is European Vacation, and I love comedies, and European Vacation is a comedy. And I also it reminds me of my childhood because came out during the 1980s, and it just reminds me of growing up. And it's also my favorite because it's about this American family, and they're kind of silly, and they're traveling through Europe, and I like how they portray this family and kind of make fun of the family along the way. So that's my favorite movie and the reasons why. So we'll return to that later. Let's get into this reading comprehension strategy. Every text has a topic, main idea, and supporting details. And if you can identify the topic and the main idea and the details, you'll have a better understanding of the text and the author's message. So what is a topic? A topic is the broad subject. It can usually be summarized in a few words. And some example topics might be training a new puppy, or healthcare in COVID-19, or test-taking strategies. So it's the overall subject, but by knowing the topic, it helps you to focus and understand what you're about to read, so that you're not just reading words on a text, but you're focused on the topic. And the topic is the first thing that you should look for when you're previewing a text. Before you read it and you're scanning over the text, look for the topic. Now, here's an example paragraph. So let's identify the topic in this paragraph. And I'm going to read through this paragraph. Which way do you prefer to learn? Some people find it easier to understand what they see in print than what they hear. Others find it easier to understand things they hear. Some people prefer seeing a picture to reading words. Think about your own learning preferences. For example, imagine you need to get from your home to some place you have never been before. What would be the easiest way to find the place? Some people want to look at a map. Others prefer to read a list of step-by-step directions. Others want to hear the navigation steps. Know what is best for you. So by looking at this paragraph, it helps to look for words that may repeat. You may see the word come up frequently. I see the word learn here. I see it here again. I also see the word prefer here. I see prefer here. So look for words that repeat themselves to help you identify the topic. And also look at the beginning and the end as well. So after looking at this paragraph, I have concluded that the topic of this paragraph is learning preferences, or another way to say it, learning styles. So that's the overall topic. So now let's turn to the main idea, or the central idea. I'm going to explain the difference between a main idea and central idea a little later in this video. So the main idea, or central idea, they are both the author's main point. It's the most important point, the most important message that the author is trying to convey in their writing. Now, the main point needs an explanation or support. Okay, the main point also must address the topic. So let's look at this image here. Here's the main idea, this tabletop. A main idea can't stand on its own, just like this tabletop cannot stand on its own. It needs these legs to support it. Those legs are the third piece to the text, the supporting details. So the details are what support the main idea. They describe the main idea, they defend the main idea, they explain it, they give reasons. So the main idea is supported by the details. So when you're looking to find the main idea and the details, note that the main idea is that overarching statement, and it's more general, where the details that support that statement are more specific. And this can help you to find the author's main idea, their main point. So let's return to this paragraph. So what is the author's main idea? So we want to look for the major points and the details, the more general and the specific. Again, a good way to look for the main idea is to read the beginning and end of the paragraph. Which way do you prefer to learn? And now here at the end it says, know what's best for you. So the author is trying to share their message at the beginning and the end. You'll oftentimes find the main idea at the beginning or end. So if I read through this again, I can see that this middle section is providing details. It's giving very specific information about how people like to learn. They like to see things, or they like to hear, or they like to see big pictures, or they like reading words. And then here's an example saying, you know, it's of why it's important to know how you learn, because what happens if you need to go somewhere? How are you going to get there? What's the best way for you? Should you look at a map? Should you look at step-by-step directions? Should you listen to navigation in your car? So this middle section, these are all details that support the main idea. And so the main idea, I summarized it. It wasn't stated in one sentence, so I had to summarize the main idea. And here is the main idea. People learn differently. It's important to know what learning style is best for you. So you can see that in this paragraph. It starts off by describing how people learn differently, and then it gives an example of why it's important that you know how you learn. Again, that's the details, which leads to the author's main point, that it's important that you know what's best for you. So that's the main idea, or the topic, main idea, and details. And now I'm going to return to the activity that we did in the breakout rooms in the Zoom session. So one tool that you can use to help you in identifying the topic, the main idea, and the details of a text is a graphic organizer. So this is an example of a graphic organizer that I could use to identify the topic, the main idea, and then the details. Now there may be 2 details, 3 details, or even more. There's always one topic, and in my example at the beginning of this video, I discussed the topic of favorite movies. And my main idea, my most important point to you, was my favorite movie is European Vacation. So that's the main idea. Now the details were the descriptions I gave, the reasons why I like European Vacation. Because it came out when I was younger, it reminds me of my childhood, it's a comedy and I love comedies, and it's also about a silly American family that travels through Europe, and I like how the movie portrays this American family. So this is an example of how I took my discussion with you, something I was speaking, and organized it as a topic, main idea, and supporting details. So you could do this with a text, you can do it with something that someone says, or you can use this to help you to write your own text. So if you have an idea, you can form your topic, main idea, and details before you write to help you organize your thoughts. I'd like to return to the concepts main idea and central idea. What is the difference? And this is important because you will see these terms, main idea or central idea, used in the quizzes on Newsela and Read Theory. So the central idea and the main idea both present the author's most important points. The central idea is the author's most important point for the entire text, where the main idea is the author's most important point for one paragraph or one section of the text. So let's look at Newsela, an article in Newsela, as an example. So here's the article. Emoticons aren't ruining language, they're revolutionizing it. So the central idea would be the author's main point throughout the entire text. So what message is the author sending to us? And a hint, a good way to identify the central idea is to start by reading the title and then looking at the introduction and the conclusion, and you'll often find it there. But the central idea is the main point for the entire text. The main idea, on the other hand, in this case would be the main idea for this section. So there's a subtitle, Change Isn't Always Bad. So in this section, Change Isn't Always Bad, there is a main idea being presented by the author. The author has a point. What is that point? And again, a good idea to find the main idea for this section is to read the subtitle, Change Isn't Always Bad. And so if we continue reading, there's another section here. So there's a main idea within this section at least. Or there could be a main idea by paragraph. It just depends. Some of these news articles tend to break up their paragraphs to make it easier to read.
And this concludes this video on topic, main idea, and supporting details.